Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this one, we are going to create a virtual machine with the Azure CLI. In this series of videos, we are working on hands-on labs for the AZ900 certification exam, which is a entry-level certificate exam just to get you started with the Azure fundamentals. And we are really following the series of labs that are developed by Microsoft Learning, and we are done up to 10 labs so far. And in this lab we're going to do the lab 11, which is a create a virtual machine with the CLI command. So let's just go over here. To follow along with me in this lab, you would need an Azure subscription. If you do not have any, just go to portal.azure.com and then get a free account for yourself. Now, uh, the first thing is the configuring the cloud shell. We do not need any local environment setup for this particular lab. We'll be working inside the Azure portal, and we will be using a cloud shell, and in that shell we'll be using the Azure CLI. Okay, and once we have that environment set up, we are going to create a resource group and a virtual machine, and it would be very similar to the way the PowerShell work. For CLI, the command's a little different. Here, to create the Azure resource group, we'll use the AZ group create, and then what we'll do, I'm going to save this, and just to compare what we have done previously. Uh, previously, we had to create a new resource group. We said new AZ resource group. That was the PowerShell command, and for the CLI, we're going to use AZ group create. Okay, and then you can AZ group list output table that will allow you to list all the output of the table in a list format. Okay, and then the next thing that you want to do, you want to create the VM, and this particular command, which is AZVM create, that would allow you to create the virtual machine. And let's see, and look at the similarity. That's what I wanted to show you over here. So the first one is the resource group name and location. A new is a resource group. That was the PowerShell, and here is the resource group. Again, you have the same parameters, name and the location. Okay, AZ group list output table, and we just said over here get AZ resource group and format table. So very little difference, and subtle difference, but once you understand how PowerShell works, it should be pretty uh, you know easy to kind of move to the CLI. Here we had the new AZVM, here AZVM create. But if you look at the other parameters that you're passing over here, name, location, virtual network name, subnet name, uh, security group name, and public IP address, you are providing similar type of parameters here: name, resource group, image, location, admin username, and admin password. So all of that you are passing over here. So let's just get started. So I am here inside my Azure environment, and over here in this little tiny button, I can click on this button over here, and it says that cloud shell timed out. That's fine, just reconnect. Last time we were in the PowerShell environment, so automatically it usually locks you back into the last environment you were on. So if you are in the PowerShell, then just click on this one and hit the bash button, and it says switch to the bash in the cloud shell, and you confirm this, and it should give you a black background, which is a visual way to identify and distinguish that, hey, I'm not in the cloud PowerShell anymore, I'm in the bash shell. So now it's requesting a cloud shell, and as soon as we have a cloud shell environment available, we can start working on it. So while this is going on, let's look at the resource groups if we have any, uh, and see if we need to clean up any resources. No, I think these are pretty good. So it's still not here. Sometimes if it takes too long, I just don't wait more than like maybe 20 seconds. I just refresh it, and I'm just gonna refresh it quickly. And what I'll do, I'll open up the cloud shell one more time, and usually it gets back and gives me back the command prompt faster. That's a little trick that you have just learned. All right, so the first thing that we're gonna do, we're gonna run this command. Okay, so this is going to create the resource group. I hope we copied properly. Okay, and there we go. So this one, and again, you should look at the provisioning state, and that is going to tell you whether this deployment, the command that you have just run, is successful or not. And at this time, if you go over here and if you look for your resource group, you better see a group name called myRGCLI. If you don't see here, refresh it, and there we go. So that's what just got created. Okay, so we are ready to start the next command. This one is just gonna give you a print of all the resource groups that you have, and there we go. So it's at the bottom, myRGCLI. That's what we have created by running this particular command a little bit earlier. All right, so now we are ready to start the deployment of the virtual machine. I'm just gonna copy all of that and copy it out here, and then over here I'm just gonna paste it and hit enter. And that one should start the deployment of a virtual machine, and it says running, and in a few minutes, maybe a minute or so, you should have a virtual machine that should be available inside this particular resource group that we have just created in our previous command. Okay, so let's go back while it's deploying. Let's come back over here, and it says command usually takes 2 to 3 minutes to complete. Usually these are amazingly fast these days, the deployment. I even seen it's even faster than 2 minutes, your VM deployment. So the thing that we will do, once this deployment is completed, we will be able to go inside the resource group and verify that this virtual machine is actually running, and execute commands in the Cloud Shell. From the Azure CLI, so this is still the Cloud Shell, and the here AZVM show resource group. So this is gonna tell you what is the status of the virtual machine in there. Okay, is it running? Is it stopped or what? If you want to stop a virtual machine, you can run this command AZVM stop. Pretty simple. Resource group, you tell this is the resource group, and name, this is the name of the virtual machine. Again, if you want to start, you would say AZVM start. So this command will tell you that the VM should be running. This one is going to stop. If you run this command again back in here, it should say everything is deallocated. Then you can start and run it again. It should say, yeah, everything is running. So that's what we would verify just in a second. So let's come back over here and look at that. This is finished. So if we come down here, go inside the resource group, I better see a virtual machine available to me. And there we go, the virtual machine. Now I can click on the virtual machine, my VMCLI. It says it's running. It's in the EastUS. That's my public IP address, and it's standard DS1v2 with 1 virtual CPUs and 3.5 gigs of memory. So everything looks good. So let's run this command over here just to check the status that we saw on the portal, and it should give you similar type of status, like it says VM is running. So the next what we'll do, we're going to stop the virtual machine, and using the Azure CLI, we're just going to run this command AZVM stop, right? So about to power of the virtual machine, it will continue to be billed to discontinue a VM run AZVM deallocate. So that is very important, okay? And if you're studying for the 900 exam, just make sure that you understand that to stop the billing for a virtual machine, you must run the AZVM deallocate, okay? Usually when you stop the virtual machine, it will say that, hey, it's stopped and also deallocated. Now this is done, so let's just check the status here. You see the portal status has not changed. It still says it's running, but we know that because we have run this command and it's completed, it must be wrong. So to update this, you can just come over here and refresh this button, and let's see what it says. It says stopped, but it does not say that it's deallocated. So that is not good. So what we would do, we can run the other command, and let's just run it using deallocate and see what the status we see. Deallocate. I hope I have the right spelling right there. So now, so here your VM is stopped, but that does not mean that it stopped the billing. It's actually still billing you. But now I'm running the deallocate command, and it will deallocate all the resources and it will stop the billing for the virtual machine. But just note that your billing for the disk storage and everything else will still continue. So you are not completely off the hook, but it will stop the billing for the virtual machine. Okay, so let's just give it 1 second while it's running. Let's come back over here, see if there's anything else that we need to do. Okay, so we need to run this command one more time, and we would like to see the status once this is done. So this is now running, which is deallocating. The machine is stopped, and now it should be in the deallocated state, right? I have the command from back. That means this command execution is now completed. Go ahead and hit on refresh, and look at that. It says stopped, and also it's deallocated. So let's run this command one last time. Show the status, and it says VM is deallocated. So very easily, if you want to now start that virtual machine, what I'll do, so AZVM show, I just need up to this. What is the name of my virtual machine? Name of the resource group, and here instead of show, I'll just type start and hit enter. So what that is gonna do, this is gonna start the virtual machine. It will be like coming over here and clicking the start button from right here. Okay, now why this is going on, as your recommendation is something you should spend some time and be familiar with the advisor. This particular machine they have used in the lab, they had whole bunch of recommendation. And if you look at it, the main thing to understand here, as your advisor, there are four main different areas where advisor can help you with optimize your cloud resources. The first is high availability, second is security, third is performance, and fourth is cost. Okay, so with the advisor recommendations, you can reduce the cost, you can improve the performance, you can be more secure, and you can make your resources more available. Okay, so in our case, we probably most likely wouldn't have too much of recommendation, and this command is done. So if I refresh, I expect to see this to be running. So let's just try that, and there we go, it's running. And let's see, advisor, I'll just go there, but I don't expect to see too much advisor recommendation, because usually you need to run your advisor for a little bit of time to the recommendations to get started piling up. Okay, so over here I don't see any recommendation. You can click, this is going to take you to Azure documentation, where you have more ideas about how you can configure different cloud resources to enhance your cloud security and pricing and availability, all that type of stuff. So that's about it for this particular lab. In this lab, you have learned how to use the Azure CLI, how to get to the Cloud Shell, how to run some basic commands, and just get familiar with it. For AZ900, you don't have to be the Azure CLI expert, but you should be able to understand the command and what it's doing, and just be able to interpret things from there. If you like the video, please give me a like and subscribe to the channel. I keep doing more and more videos in various topics, mostly Azure and cloud related. If you're studying for the AZ900 exam, good luck. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.